Now, I'm sure most of you know there's been some breaking developments in the whole Jeffrey Epstein saga, with the trial coming up for Ghislaine Maxwell. It seems lately that there's been many distractions in the news when it comes to high-profile court cases, speaking of course about Kyle Rittenhouse in the Ahmaud Arbery case, but I believe this case is the one that's really gonna cause the most waves in our society. Let's start by discussing the interview given to Matt Hellier, Ghislaine Maxwell's former security guard and ex-British Special Forces soldier. During his interview for a docuseries that's premiering on Paramount+, Hellier stated that Ghislaine Maxwell was the most hunted lady in the world, referring to 2019 and 2020 when Maxwell was hiding out following the Jeffrey Epstein allegations. He detailed that they took extensive efforts in order to stay below the radar, saying, "We would never stay in one place for any length of time." Hellier stated that Maxwell even went as far as creating a fake decoy and placing her in Paris, setting up a photo op, and then feeding this misinformation to the media in order to throw authorities off of her trail. And I remember reporting about this back in 2019 when there was that sighting, alleged sighting, of Maxwell in Paris. So what led to Maxwell's downfall, I believe, and why she got captured, is because for the life of her, she just could not lay low. I mean, this woman just had to really kind of cut her budget, live below her means, and hide out. But what does she do? Of course she buys a multi-million-dollar mansion in New Hampshire with 156 acres of property. Right after she did this, the authorities found out right away that she purchased such a huge property, and they swooped in and arrested her. Hellier, Maxwell's security guard, explained it like something out of a movie. Like the SWAT team and the FBI came in and they completely raided the place. Her security guard surrendered right away, like it was insanity. That occurred back on July 2nd of 2020, my birthday, and she has been in solitary confinement ever since. So as of now, that's a period of 15 months. Maxwell has recently released a statement describing her conditions over in that jail cell, basically saying she's had no nutritious meal the entire time she's been there. She's had to sleep with the lights on. The fluorescent lights are messing up her eyes. She has not been allowed to sleep without constant interruptions. She has also said, and I quote, "I used to go to the loo with an open sewer drain and a friendly rat would regularly visit. I told the guards, but nothing was done until the rat popped out and charged a guard who screamed in terror. Finally, the sewer drain was covered." I've also heard reports that she has made up an imaginary friend in her jail cell. Basically, she's losing it, but again, it's hard to feel sympathy towards a person who someone like Virginia Giuffre described as being a perpetrator who would actually participate herself in the abuse that Epstein did with these girls. One victim has claimed she actually hates Maxwell even more than Epstein because Maxwell was a woman who did this to other women. All the victims have described Maxwell as the organizer for Epstein's trafficking ring. In one interview, Virginia Roberts said that she saw Maxwell in the courtroom recently, and her lawyers were, touching her shoulder, smiling, they were all laughing, and she was reminded of just how charming Maxwell was. And for any of you who have dealt with narcissists in your life, you understand that this is a thing. Like, she does fit the profile of someone who'd be guilty of these acts. So I did a little research in the study of female sex offenders, and one stat I found was over 70% of them work in conspiracy with a male perpetrator, according to Dr. Todd Grand. So to go more in detail about the trial, this is going to be the FBI versus Maxwell. She's being tried for allegations that occurred in the 90s, so it might be a little bit difficult to convict her, but there is actually a lot of evidence that's ruling against her. Maxwell is being charged with 3 counts: 1, sex trafficking, conspiracy to entice minors, and conspiracy to transport minors. She has pled not guilty to all counts. During this trial, there's going to be a lot of witnesses testifying against Maxwell, and there is actually a lot of video and photo evidence to back up their claims. Again, these witnesses are going to testify that Maxwell organized the pedophile ring, that she was actually a participant in some of the abuse, she was an observer of a lot of the abuse, and honestly, like, she would be heard in front of these girls, like, talking to them like they didn't matter. She just had this air of arrogance about her, where she treated these girls like commodities that she could just trade and make money off of and make Epstein happy. So some of you might have heard that JayZ, or Sean Carter, has appeared on the court documents for the upcoming Maxwell trial. I've seen this online, and I'm not sure if these are the documents that are describing this pending trial coming up, or this is another frivolous lawsuit. It is compelling. JayZ might be involved in this trial coming up, but I'm not sure how legitimate these court documents are. So we'll wait and find out. So I've heard that security around Maxwell right now is top notch because they don't want a repeat of what happened with Epstein. And I'm happy to hear this. So let's hope that security holds strong and there's no mysterious cameras breaking down in the middle of the night. So like I said before, I feel like America's been somewhat kind of distracted by a bunch of other court cases that are really big. They're large and impactful and interesting, but this is the real court case. Like, this has the capacity to almost like change our culture. Intuitively, I feel like some big names are going to be dropped in this trial coming up. Whether these names will be successfully prosecuted is unclear, but I see famous reputations being destroyed. I really feel like this is about to be like what everybody talks about in a few months, this case. So this is just the beginning. Some huge names are going to be dropped, and this is exciting, honestly. This is a change in our culture. As a society, I think we need to see an end to this celebrity worship, this idol worship we have of the so-called rich and powerful. I think it's gone on a little bit too much, and we need to start changing our zeitgeist around this. And I believe that this case is really going to help us get to that point. So thanks for listening, and I'll be back soon.